Proxima Centauri is 40 trillion kilometers away, yet scientists claim it's next door. But there is a classified reality about the 4.2 light-year gap that NASA is not disclosing to the public. The laws of physics haven't just slowed us down, they have effectively trapped humanity in a cosmic cage we can never leave. The crew left Earth with everything: food, water, hope, ambition. They are dead now, and the ship is still only halfway there. That is not a metaphor. That is the mathematical result of pointing humanity's fastest spacecraft at the nearest star and letting it run. 6,000 years of silence inside a metal hull, drifting through absolute nothing, and the destination is still a generation away. We call Proxima Centauri our closest neighbor. We say the word closest like it carries comfort. It carries a T-rap. In 2016, astronomers announced something that stopped the scientific world cold. A planet, rocky, Earth-sized, orbiting Proxima Centauri inside the habitable zone, the precise band of distance where liquid water can theoretically sit on a surface without boiling away or freezing solid. They named it Proxima b, and for exactly 72 hours, the world allowed itself to believe humanity had found its next home. Nearest star, Earth-like world, habitable zone. The language was intoxicating. Every headline stacked these phrases like a ladder reaching toward an obvious conclusion. We found it. The second Earth, right next door. That feeling was real. The conclusion was a LIE. The data they aren't showing you is this. 4.24 light years does not behave like a number. It behaves like a sentence. A final one. 1 light year is 9.46 trillion kilometers. Multiply that by 4.24. You get 40 trillion kilometers of cold, empty, indifferent nothing. NASA prints this number on posters. Science teachers write it on whiteboards. They say it calmly, like it is manageable, like it is merely far. It is not far. It is unreachable. Drive a car at highway speed, without stopping, without sleeping, without ever slowing down for a single second, and you arrive in 50 million years. Stack every road ever built by every human civilization in all of recorded history, end to end, and you would not reach halfway. These are not dramatic exaggerations designed to impress you. They are the cold, clinical, boring arithmetic of interstellar distance. And we have not even reached the hard part yet. Newer readings suggest the speed barrier is even more brutal than official estimates acknowledge, and the agencies know it. The fastest spacecraft humanity has ever launched is the Parker Solar Probe. During close solar approaches, it reached 690,000 kilometers per hour. That sounds extraordinary. By every human standard, it genuinely is. At that speed, Proxima Centauri takes 6,500 years. That number deserves a moment of complete silence. 6,500 years ago, the Egyptian pyramids had not yet been built. Writing had barely been invented. Every empire, every war, every revolution, every language, every religion, every collapsed civilization that has ever existed in all of recorded human history fits inside the travel time to our nearest stellar neighbor. With centuries to spare, entire languages were born and went extinct situ in less time than this journey would take. You launch the ship. Civilizations rise and collapse on Earth. New species of humans may emerge. The ship arrives. The crew has been dust for 60 consecutive generations. Speed is not the solution we imagine it to be, because speed at this scale demands energy. And energy is precisely where the physics begins to collapse every dream we have ever attached to this destination. The data they aren't showing you is this. The fuel problem does not have an engineering solution waiting to be discovered. It has a mathematical ceiling that cannot be raised to reach even 1% of the speed of light, which would still mean a brutal 424-year journey with no guarantee of survival. A spacecraft carrying a modest crew and payload requires energy exceeding the combined total output of every nuclear weapon ever built by every nation in human history, multiplied many times over, not slightly over. not marginally over. Catastrophically, devastatingly, irreversibly over. The math is called the Tsiolkovsky rocket equation. It is Laplace's. It does not negotiate. More fuel to accelerate makes the ship heavier. A heavier ship demands more fuel to move the additional mass of the fuel itself. The equation spirals inward like a closing fist. Every solution generates a larger problem directly behind it. At a certain threshold, the fuel required becomes physically larger than any structure our civilization could ever construct, launch, or power from this planet's surface. And that equation covers only acceleration. It does not cover stopping. A ship traveling at even a fraction of light speed arriving at Proxima Centauri without the capacity to decelerate does not enter orbit. It does not conduct a survey pass. It does not land. It tears through the entire star system in a matter of hours, radioing nothing, and vanishes into permanent, unreachable darkness on the other side forever. Deceleration demands the same catastrophic energy expenditure as acceleration. Double every impossible number you have already accepted. These aren't solutions we are searching for. They are desperate gambles that collapse the moment they face the cold arithmetic of reality. The energy problem does not merely resist every attempt at resolution. It grows larger, more demanding, more impossible with every calculation applied to it. The data they aren't showing you is this. Recent high-resolution measurements of the interstellar medium reveal the radiation environment between stars is significantly more hostile than models from 15 years ago suggested. Assume the energy problem is somehow solved. Assume the ship is moving at meaningful speed. Now the hull is pushing through interstellar space, and space is not empty. It contains hydrogen atoms, cosmic rays, high-energy particles streaming continuously from violent sources scattered across the galaxy. At low speeds, these particles pass through a ship's hull with damage that biological systems can partially repair. At high speeds, the interaction becomes catastrophic. The particles stop being background noise. They become a continuous bombardment. Every single hour of travel at a meaningful fraction of light speed floods the crew with radiation doses that destroy human DNA faster than any known biological mechanism can compensate or rebuild. Cancer accelerating through every organ simultaneously. Neurological tissue breaking down. Organ failure cascading through the body in sequence. The ship becomes a slow death chamber, and the faster it moves, the faster it kills. Shielding adds mass. Mass demands more fuel. The equation spirals again, tightening around every proposed solution like a trap that was always already closed. Set every physical problem aside for exactly one moment. Assume, against all evidence, that all of it is somehow resolved. The ship moves. The crew survives the radiation. The fuel holds. Now ask the question nobody in the official briefings ever asks out loud. What happens to human beings, sealed inside a metal container for 400 consecutive years, not one lifetime stretched thin by hardship, generations, plural. The people who eventually land at Proxima B will be the great-great-great-grandchildren of the people who launched from Earth, born inside the ship. Never breathed open air, never felt unfiltered sunlight, never stood on ground that was not vibrating steel floor humming with engine noise. Every serious psychological study of prolonged isolation tells the identical story without exception. Cognitive erosion, social fracture widening into permanent division, depression spiraling beyond any pharmaceutical management, paranoia spreading through the population like infection. And those studies measured missions lasting months, not centuries. A multi-generational crew requires a fully functioning, stable, self-governing society sealed inside a vessel with no resupply, no external communication fast enough to matter, no natural environment, and absolutely no guarantee that a mission objective chosen 400 years earlier will carry meaning for people who never consented to this journey and never saw the planet that sent them. The founders of the mission will become mixology before the ship reaches halfway. The people who land will be strangers to everything that built the ship. Newer readings now suggest Proxima B's surface conditions are considerably more hostile than the 2016 announcement implied, and the enthusiasm of that moment buried the warnings. Proxima Centauri is a red dwarf star. Red dwarfs are not calm. They are magnetically violent, unstable stars that produce enormous flares, eruptions of charged radiation particles orders of magnitude more intense than anything our comparatively quiet sun generates. Because Proxima b orbits so dangerously close to its star, far closer than Earth sits to the sun, it is tidally locked. One hemisphere burns in permanent, scalding, unrelenting heat. The other sits in permanent frozen darkness with temperatures that approach absolute zero. Between both hemispheres, the entire surface is repeatedly bathed in stellar flares, powerful enough to strip complete planetary atmospheres away over geological timescales. Whether Proxima b retains any atmosphere at all is unknown. Whether any liquid water exists anywhere on the surface is unknown. Whether any human being could survive a single hour exposed to the surface conditions is devastatingly, completely unknown. We aimed our hope at those coordinates in 2016 because the numbers said habitable zone. The numbers never said habitable. Those are two entirely different words. And the distance between them is the cruelest lie astronomy ever told in a single press release. Every layer of this catastrophe exists simultaneously, and they are all connected. Distance, energy, radiation, biology, psychology, destination, solve for speed, and radiation kills the crew. Add shielding, and the fuel equation becomes impossible. Solve the fuel equation, and do require an energy infrastructure larger than our entire civilization currently produces. Solve the engineering, and the human mind fractures across generations before arrival. These aren't solutions waiting to be engineered. They're desperate gambles that fail the moment they face reality. And reality here has no exceptions, no extensions, and no mercy. There is a wall. The wall is not one problem. It is all of them, simultaneously, inseparable, and growing taller with every honest calculation applied to it. The terrifying truth is not that the stars are far. The terrifying truth is that the nearest star, the one visible to the naked eye, the one with a named planet already orbiting it, may sit permanently beyond every boundary our species is physically, biologically, and psychologically capable of crossing. Not because we lack imagination, not because we lack ambition, because the universe did not design its distances around creatures who live 80 years, burn chemical fuel, and have only just barely scraped past their own atmosphere. 4.24 light years is not a challenge waiting for the next generation to solve. It is a permanent boundary, a wall with no door, a cage built from the laws of physics themselves, that has never once cared whether we want it out. If we are truly T-propping inside the solar system, what do you believe is waiting for us in the dark? Leave your answer below. Because whatever you believe, the universe is under no obligation to agree.